we started breaking before I even got in front of it.
I tried to.
For once it wasn't you.
Failed.
Might have been me.
Everybody ready?
Hold on a second. Please.
If you ever put this one up here, I'm gonna turn it off.
No, that's fine.
To you?
Yes.
You okay, JJ?
You good, JG?
Yeah.
Everybody? All right. Okay. Questions for Rhett?
What about what you guys did at practice today?
Today was good. We started to kind of really work specifically on things we need to improve the last 2 days. We haven't installed as much. I think the first 7, 8 days, I mean, we were putting in the offense and the defense. In the last 2 days, yesterday and today, we really focused more on just cleaning up the base things that we're going to really, rep and hang our hat on and do a lot of. So it's been good the last 2 days to get that work done. There's been some periods where we've emphasized, hey, here's what the defense needs the most work at, and we've kind of ran our stuff, but given them some service in the same way, them giving us some looks that we really need to work on, so we can really be specific and maximize our reps and our personnel. The guys that we need to get certain looks doing certain things. So it's been really good. I thought really the last 3 days our tempo of practice has been excellent. Our guys have really done a good job. Our leaders have stepped up and done a really good job of kind of maintaining the energy and the tempo of practice and not making the coaches do it, which has been good.
Hey, were you full pants today?
We were not. We were in shells today, shoulder pads.
So y'all didn't scrimmage, okay?
We did not.
Is that because of the rain or just?
No, that was just always the plan. Today's Sunday, right? I don't know what day it is. So that was always the plan. We're going to come out and, we can go full, we can go shells either way and get all the same work we do if we don't go live. So we still did plenty of good work. We probably had at least 30 good minutes of work, good on good against each other, offense, defense. We just didn't go to the ground.
Rhett, how's Jalen Denson doing coming back out there? How important is to get him back out there? Not only is the pass threat, but he was one of your better run blockers.
No question. Jalen's doing well. In the first probably 3 or 4 practices, we saw enough to know that he's going to be able to play this year. And, it's typical. It's sore here and there at times. But he's not re-injured anything or ever been limited from an injury. It's just now about us managing him to get him to the first game. And then I think as the season goes on, his volume will be able to increase. But he's practiced every practice. Some we've given him more reps than others, but that's been by our design, not necessarily him, because it's just, we got to ease him back into that. And but he's done really, really good.
How about Jeremy and how he's progressing?
Jeremy's been good. As a matter of fact, Jeremy's best days have probably the last 3 or 4 days. Throwing the ball really well, starting to make good decisions. And I just think anytime your quarterbacks, especially those first 2 guys repping the most with those first 2 sets of receivers, we're getting better throwing and catching the ball just because of repetition and timing and continuity. And it's been really good the last couple of days.
Right.
And I'll say this, just from a leadership standpoint, I've seen a little bit of a change that he's more confident stepping up, and it doesn't matter if it's a guy older than him or not, and taking charge of his group when he's out there.
Talking about Nick, what do you think out of him in those same aspects as well?
Nick's been steady from day one. He's been really good. I think Nick's best day was probably yesterday. Threw the ball really well, but the best part about yesterday was there was times that he just made great decisions. Hey, number 1, 2, and 3 weren't there. You're the 4th guy. And then from a standpoint of I keep saying 3 days ago, it was probably Thursday or Friday practice, one of those 2, whichever. We were off Friday, so it was Thursday's practice. From that point on, our seniors and our guys that really we're counting on have led, and Nick has been right at the front of that, and I've been really proud of that. Him and those wideouts are really starting to lead, which has been really good.
How have you been splitting the reps between them for the first team now that we're getting a little bit closer to the opener just these last couple of days?
Who, you talking about Nick and Jeremy?
Yeah.
Haven't done anything different because we haven't gotten into, working on an opponent. So for the most part, it's been standard business, whereas Nick goes with the first group, Jeremy the second group, and then there are times I give Jeremy reps with the first group and either Nick with the other group or just slide another quarterback in with the other group. So Jeremy's getting plenty of reps with both groups. Nick's getting all the reps he needs, but until we get into game plan mode, I haven't really worried about that, I guess I should say.
Rhett, during the spring, major point of emphasis you mentioned was improving, ball security. How have you guys been in that area since fall began?
As far as fumbles go, we've been really good. We've only had the 1 scrimmage, so the level of live work hadn't been up as much. But we've been good, I think. That's kind of one of those things that's going to be hard to judge till you play. Mm-hmm. But we've worked it. We stress it every day. Everybody that carries the ball, every position other than offensive lineman, we do ball security drills every day. Some days more than others, but there's some daily must things we do with ball bands and other things that we do every day to emphasize it. We coach it off the film. Plenty of times guys don't fumble, but we see poor ball security, we point it out, and we have accountabilities for it. When we see great ball security, we make sure we point it out so everybody knows that. Now there was one day that we were really careless with the ball throwing. It was Wednesday, I don't know, a couple days back, that we had a poor day throwing the ball as far as protecting it with our quarterbacks, and it wasn't one, it was about 3 of them. But other than that one day, they've done a good job of protecting the ball. But, we've challenged the whole team and the whole offense, but especially the quarterback position. That, there's a lot of things we've got to be 13 seconds better in. Well, number one for us is ball security. And I did think Nick did a pretty good job throwing the football last year. But there was 4 glaring fumbles in the year that were really bad, and then there was 4 others that were credited to him that were him and a running back. So whose fault it was really doesn't matter. It's got to be corrected. So until we play that first game, all you can do is emphasize it.
How much has Nick improved, just technique, fundamentals as a passer?
I think it's night and day. He obviously improved a lot in the spring. He's a lot further along now than he was in the spring. His footwork's good. He rarely makes errant throws because he's off balance or because he's, not doing the proper footwork and those fundamentals you ask of him. He's really bought in and worked on it himself, and he's gotten very consistent, which I think has made him a more consistent passer and quarterback. And so now it's more of just making sure we make the right decisions all the time. And like I said, for the most part, he's done that, especially the last couple of days.
You said that Jeremy also needs to improve on his footwork before camp
Yep.
started. Just what have you seen in that area, and also what specifically are you looking at 3-step drops specifically, 5-step? What are the ones that are where he is the most work to do?
Yeah, being specific, probably just the 3-step is the quicker 3-step game. It's just something he didn't do a lot of in high school, so it's not as natural as some others. And bigger, bigger guys, it sometimes takes a little more time sometimes. He's done a good job. With Jeremy, his footwork and his eyes. Young guys, Sean White's going through that right now. I mean, the first thing they want to do is look where they're throwing it, because that's all they're worried about is what's their read, where am I throwing it? And once you get comfortable and you can slow things down, Nick's to that point, Jeremy's getting to that point, and I think Sean will be there quick. You get to that point where everything slows down, you can use your eyes to manipulate the defense. So those are probably the 2 biggest things with Jeremy, and he's gotten better from now to since the first day of camp. It's a continual process, but he's really worked hard at it and gotten pretty good.
What's Jonathan Wallace's role? Is it anything besides quarterback?
Yeah, Jonathan's quarterback, and I think he's been working with Coach Fountain in some areas. I know he's been doing some holding and some other things. And Jonathan's that guy that I could sit up here for 30 minutes and sing Jonathan's praises. I mean, there's not a better young man on our team. There's not a better leader on our team. There's not another young man on your team you'd want your daughter to marry someday. He's phenomenal. He's a good player. He's a competitor. And we're going to find ways for him to help this team. And he's also got a quarterback that, hey, if a guy or 2 goes down, I know we could put him in. He could run our entire offense. He'd know exactly what to do, and I trust him. And so, situations will maybe dictate what his role is throughout the year, but we're doing our best to give him opportunities to have roles, even if he's not at quarterback, to help our team. And so, we'll see as the year goes on.
To get into that contingency, build up that Rhett for what week 1 would be while Nick is out, however long that is, a quarter, a half the game, whatever. If something were to happen to Jeremy, the contingency would be Jonathan.
Can't say any of that. No decisions have been made.
With the way.
And hey, you can say that, they really haven't. I mean, we really haven't made any decisions, so that is what that is.
The way the season ended for Nick last season, Coach Malzahn was even talking about him being in the Heisman race late last season. A lot of pressure going this year, stuff that happened in the offseason. Do you believe he can still be in a position this year to be able to challenge for those individual awards and be considered one of the top quarterbacks in the country?
I don't think there's any question. There's a lot of factors that matter. Is the team winning? Is he playing well? Is he playing well in big games? Have we improved throwing the ball? There's a lot of things that would go into that, but if you're Nick right now, what I'm asking Nick to do, he doesn't need to worry about any of that. He needs to worry about Nick, and he worries about leading this team and playing well each game, and that all takes care of itself. It's kind of like our team's ultimate goals. I mean, you can't look way out here. You got to have goals. You got to know where you want to get to, but if you focus on that and you don't take care of the present, it's not going to do any good. So if he does what he's capable of and what he's supposed to do, and our team is fortunate enough to play well and stay healthy, then I think all those individual accolades will take care of themselves.
Is Sandrew pressure he might be able to help you this year?
Possibly. He's a young man that the first couple days was slow with a little bit of a nagging hamstring, never anything that really had him out for a long period of time, but just nagging. The good thing for us is we saw him in the spring. So we already knew what he could do. The kid can really run. He's tough. He's smart. You know, he played some quarterback in high school too, so he really wants to do well. So there's a chance Stanton could have a good role for us.
Is he playing slot and the fullback?
He's playing more receiver. He's not playing any running back. You know, there's some maybe unique sets. He'll do some things just because he's so fast. He can do some different things other guys can't. But he's a wide out slot.
Rhett, overall, you pleased with the progression you guys have made on offense so far early in camp?
I really am. The first couple days, hey, the execution was okay. Everybody's excited to get to camp. Then we had about 2 days that, I mean, they weren't bad, but you know, you just, I don't know, maybe we're just getting settled into a funk of, all right, we know it's a long way till we play, a lot of practices, and then it would have been about probably the day after that first scrimmage, so around day 6. We really challenged them. Those leaders have stepped up ever since, and I feel like our guys have practiced the way we want them to practice. And I don't just mean, that's everything. From tempo has been great, to the leadership's been great, execution's been well, but even when execution hasn't been well, they've practiced from start to finish. We haven't had a lot of ups and downs in practice, and I think we've gotten better. I really do. And, you know, they're like everybody. You get itchy and ready to play somebody, but that's still 19 and a half days away, I guess. So I've really been pleased, especially with the last week or so.
You guys were just saying that the Quills kind of found a role mostly, he started saying at the wide, but then he's also said outside, which sounds like that's not one pure defined role. But can you go and expand a little bit as to what exactly the Quills' role is when it's inside and outside?
Whose role?
Duke's role.
Oh, Duke, okay, Duke, yeah. Yeah, Duke's role, let's, get him the ball. I mean, he's a playmaker. And we've moved him around some. You know, we're trying to get the right guys and get the best 11 on the field. So that could look different in a 2-receiver set or a 3-receiver set or a 4-receiver set. Where he's at could look different. Same thing with Sammy Coates, same thing with Ricardo Lewis. So, I don't want to go into too much detail on roles, but, he's a guy that needs the ball and plays well with the ball. But the thing I've been the most proud about Duke, we really ask a lot of our receivers outside of catching footballs. We really pride ourselves in blocking well for other receivers and for backs and Nick, and we ask them to do a lot of things without the ball, and he's been exceptional like the other guys in that area.
Rhett, Dennis mentioned y'all are going to start working on that first game prep maybe the next week or so.
Yeah.
Have y'all discussed a plan for splitting up reps with Nick, and when you move that forward, what's the go plan?
No, we haven't. We started back into spring and early summer. We've already kind of done a preliminary look at Arkansas, and everybody around the country does that. So we already have a little bit of foundation tucked away back away that we can bring out. But we'll get going again here in the next couple of days, probably as coaches, maybe before the players. But no, we really haven't gone into great detail of how we'll handle that, how long, and all that stuff. I know as we get closer to time, Coach and I'll talk, and we'll try to get a good plan together that gives our team the best chance to win.
When you had your personnel discussion on Friday, especially with JB, talk about the line, if the is some of the contingencies he was mentioning, is if the tackle goes down, does Avery go out, and does if the guard goes down, does Danzy become that guy?
Yep. That's some things we're really kind of still pondering. We know we feel good about our first 5. I'll tell you, Devontae Danzy, Chad was out a couple days. I mean, Devontae Danzy, he looks healthy, and he's really had a good camp. I mean, he has had a really good fall camp. We're really proud of him. We got a lot of confidence that he could go in and do a good job at the guard spot. We've got other guys, Braden Smith, the young guy's really doing well. Robert Leff, we feel like he's a smart young man, knows what to do. And then we got Xavier Dampier, and then there's some other guys that are still battling for spots. We've got in our mind what we think, but we decided after Friday, let's give it a couple more days, probably till Wednesday, to decide, do we want to go ahead and move somebody now, or do we want to just know that if this happens, then this happens? So right now, we haven't changed the way we've been repping from day 1 to now. It's those 5 that everyone else is in the same spots they've been in. But we've had some talks of, okay, if this guy and this guy goes down, do you move Avery out, and slide someone in, or do you move someone out and leave Avery where he's at? And, the positive is we feel like we have flexibility. We feel like we have as good a depth as we've had in a lot of spots, and that's even without Al. Obviously, that hurts our depth, but we're still, JB and Coach and I are still kind of deciding what we think's best right now, because it's hard to predict week 7, if there aren't any injuries, where everybody would be at, and that's what we're looking at.
We have one more question?
Yeah, Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yesterday, Gus was saying in a perfect world, 2 of the 3 younger running backs would be in the mix, and obviously with the 2 seniors you've got, that'd make it 4. I mean, is that kind of, in your experience in the past, is 4 kind of the perfect number you can reasonably
Yeah.
say to a guy, hey, you'll get some touches this year?
In reality, I mean, guys that are really gonna play and carry the ball, 3 to 4. At the same time, in our league and the way we play, I mean, it can happen where you're on back 4 and 5 real quick, and so you can never have enough good quality backs. Obviously we know what we got with Cap and with Corey. You've got the 3 young guys that have been battling it out. Of course, Peyton has been here. He's gotten a spring, so things are slower for him than the other 2. But you're going to have 3 for sure that you feel like can play in every game. And it may be some games where that 3rd guy doesn't carry the ball much, if at all, but then those are games he may carry it 10 or 12 times. And so we got to have at least 2 of those 3 step up to feel comfortable with our depth of having 4 guys that are, game ready to play and contribute.
Thank you, Rhett.